so nice to be here. Yeah, I'm going to read 4 wee things, stories. One's a bit of non-fiction. Because Black Friday was the theme, I thought I would do a very loose economic theme, which isn't a topic that I write about very often, so it was a bit difficult to find 4 pieces, but hopefully you feel that they hold together. So the first one is a kind of non-fiction piece, which is about waitressing. I was a waitress for so many years. I did all kinds of jobs when I was trying to write. So I was a waitress. I worked in a call centre. If you've ever had to reclaim your PPI, that was me. I'm really sorry. Although I was really rubbish at selling PPI, so I probably didn't manage to actually sell you it. I worked in a grocer's, which was really hard because a lot of the vegetables were spelled wrong or the apostrophes were wrong, and it just, or you had to just, you know, be selling someone a courgette and the label on the courgette was spelled wrong. You had to just pretend that you hadn't noticed. It was really, well, I mean, that's a stupid problem to have. I know, but it was very traumatic for a short period of time. Yeah, so I had all kinds of jobs, all just so that I could write. That was all I cared about. You know, I did not care what kind of job I did, as long as it would just give me this time to write. So I decided to write about that, basically. So this is called The Mathematics of Waiting. Landscape. At 5 to 9, we take the metal grills off the window frames. When we lift, our arm muscles tense to the size of garlic cloves. We already have crumbs in our hair. Clouds reflect on the spilled liquid on the table. A baby throws chewed raisins on the floor. Children thumb grease onto the cake cabinet. The music changes. The CD skips. It's changed back. The roots of our hair grow in the same colour as the coffee grounds. Commerce. I waitress to buy the time to write. 1 day of waitressing is equal to 2 days of writing because I share rent with my girlfriend and quit smoking and mostly eat rice and vegetables. Waitressing saves money because I walk to work, plus £2.50 on bus fare, get my lunch for free, plus £5 on food, get as much coffee as I need to stay awake, plus £4 on double macchiatos, and get paid in cash, plus £200 per annum tax. Waitressing turns every purchase into a trade-off. Is this thing worth the hours of my life I wasted making lattes? A dress, minus 5 hours. A DVD, minus 2 hours. Going out with my girlfriend for dinner and drinks and a film, minus 8 hours. I don't buy much, because not much is worth those hours of work. Not much is worth wasting my life. Monologue. A skinny cappuccino doesn't negate the fat in a cheesecake. I can tell she's been crying. Every day he orders a black coffee, adds 3 sugars and then doesn't drink it. I hate when people stub out cigarettes in their cups. Chin up, back straight, keep your tattoos covered. I hope he doesn't try and bring that dog inside. Put that check on, make this coffee, put through this bill. Yes, sir, what can I get you? Refill the salt shakers, get fresh butter. I'll be right with you, madam. Go downstairs for more pudding plates. Get ice cream while you're there. Sorry about that, sir. I'll get you another. Smile, smile. I know you're tired. I know you ate, but it's midnight and it's almost over, so just... The mechanics of writing. Every story I've ever written began on a check pad. I write each story over 3 evening shifts, lurking behind the coffee machine, serving up G&Ts and meringues with strawberries. Sometimes my imagination will not rise above my burned fingertips, and I write about pissed off girls with shitty jobs, girls who paste on smiles, girls who never get to make their own mess because they're too busy cleaning up after other people. But if the checks are spaced out enough, I can forget where I am and go somewhere else. I can write about sea monsters and ancient Roman goddesses and groupies and Japan and fucking behind all-night garages. When I have to lift my pen and measure out 2 small red wines, 3 large white wines, a jug of tap water, I'm still halfway across the world or under the sea or 2,000 years in the past. Once I'm elsewhere, it's hard to drag myself back. At the weekend, I tape all the check pad sheets together and type them up on my laptop. The taped sheets arch over the kitchen table where I work, and when I get up to make tea, I tear the tissuey paper with the chair legs. It takes a long time for my imagination to rise up beyond my fingertips again. More mathematics. The credit card machine is slow to spit out receipts. It dials through the phone line, and if someone is on the phone, then it won't connect. Just stutters out millimetres of receipt paper while I stand there and smile at the customers. Even when it does work, it's the slowest credit card machine I've ever used. 1 minute to dial, 1 minute to check, 1 minute to print the confirmation. I add up the hours I have spent, standing awkwardly by a napkin-strewn table, staring down at the tiny green screen. 3 minutes each time, plus 10 times a shift, plus 3 times a week, plus 2 years, equals 156 hours, equals 6.5 days, equals just under a week. I could write 7 stories in a week. I have lost 7 stories, waiting for the credit card machine. The next time I'm staring down at that little green screen, I resolve to write a paragraph in my head. Yeah, I wasn't a very good waitress, as you may be able to tell from her piece. I was never really paying attention. So after my 2 years as a waitress, I decided, no, money is stupid, don't want money, so but then I kind of needed money to pay my rent also. So I started to write all these stories about kind of people living alternate lifestyles and exploring what is money for. And actually I was thinking about, well, Debbie, while you were reading your poem, I think that's really interesting about giving all your possessions away, because this is kind of the same idea that I was exploring as well in this story. So this is called Imaginary Birds. On the red checked tablecloth in a clapboard house, somewhere in the middle of your country, a china white saucer of butter and rye crackers, muddy lettuce, still warm bread, a cluster of beers and some water that you're sure is drinkable despite the reddish grit. Here you will eat and drink with your hands straight from containers, and with eating comes talking. You will make walls with words. You will build up this little cell. Some of you will leave, break through the walls to build more in someone else's country, uninvited and entirely necessary. You will bring tablets to make the water drinkable, pieces of printed paper to explain your theories, scroll pictures in the dust when words become too heavy in the mouth. You will wipe soot from leaves, soak oil from birds. You will weave shelters from torn branches with ends still weeping sap. You will build things up for others to break down. Some of you will stay, grow the walls and the people behind them. You will crowd around this thing you all made, this baby raised by committee. Some of you will forget, even just for a moment, whose belly she came from, who made her guts and voice, each toe and eyelash. And maybe in that moment, you will even think that she is yours. You will smile to think that you made this tiny, perfect object grasping her fists in the middle of the table, to think that you could create this from your body. And you will remember, after that moment, that you did not. All you made was this table, and this meal, and these walls, which after all are made of nothing but words. So I kind of went on that kick for a little while longer, and I wrote this other story, and I got into this habit of writing stories really, really quickly. I found that almost everything I read was just too long, too many words, too long. And someone described this as take no prisoners storytelling, which I quite like. So here's my take no prisoners story, and it's called Please Take. Communal courtyard, Velcro graph walls, smell of damp, shelf of books outside with a label, Please Take. The books were my father's. My neighbour Jen holds a queer punk night where I meet Bex, butch and shy and soft-featured and chunky-bodied. That night she grazes her knees on the walls. All-night garage. I have a ball-peen hammer in my coat pocket. Jen and Bex discuss roll plugs, which makes me uncomfortable, and they make me hold the drinks because I've kissed them both, but actually I haven't kissed either of them. I wish I had. Drinking tea with Bex. The future seems mapped. Glued mohawks and photocopied zines and ruling queer nightclubs like Queens. She will listen, really listen. She will play me songs on her acoustic guitar at open mic nights, and she'll be too shy to dedicate them to me, but I'll know. I'll just know. We move to a city brick box, and already I'm fictionalizing the gaps. I leave the ball-peen. All my father's books are gone. and I wish I'd left the please off the sign. So I'm just going to finish on a piece that I wrote, because I realise actually I'm not really an alternative lifestyle person. I'm really boringly traditional, unfortunately, though I wish I wasn't. On which subject my girlfriend and I are getting married next year. Yay. I don't know if any of you have had a wedding or planned a wedding. You probably possibly did the same thing that we did, which was that we said we're not going to do a big wedding, we're going to keep it super small and super simple, and then you just can't. You try so hard, and then you think, oh, but I need to invite this uncle and that uncle, and then you need to invite all your uncles, and also my girlfriend's dad is one of 7, so that's fucking hundreds of uncles and aunties and cousins and everyone. So it all gets a little bit out of hand. We've been to a lot of weddings in the past couple of years, because I don't know what's happened the past couple of years. I've just turned 31, and I just think that's the age. I think I currently know more pregnant than not pregnant people. What's happened? Well, I mean, I know what happened. I don't know why suddenly it's like baby o'clock suddenly. So yeah, loads and loads of weddings and babies. And because if you write, you always get asked to write things for people's weddings, which most of the time I'm totally happy to do. But occasionally they don't like what I write. This is an example of one of those pieces. I think it's super romantic, but I can also understand why somebody wouldn't want to have it read at their wedding, which will make sense when you have heard it. So it's called Love Riot. How to get a date. File your nails to points. Salve your mouth where the bit has chafed it. Paint it red and make sure it is wet. Display all your teeth when you smile. Think wolf. Think pussycat. Don't let your damage show. Ensure the whites of your eyes do not begin to crack. Seek out ferns that match your irises, then stand next to them. How to be the best man. Clip holes in the hedge maze, sew the ring box into your trouser pocket. Remind everyone about the time you stole your father's boat and sailed out among the islands for 2 weeks of puffins and cider and campfires. Don't mention that it was snow-spattered, or that the girl went back to where she came from, or that you sailed back with your fists covering the compass, in the hope that you would accidentally sail out across the ocean. How to be a wedding singer. Move your fingers across the keys faster than is necessary. Glaze your eyes. Look at the bridesmaids' sleeves. Remind yourself that they're all motherfuckers anyway. Everyone is a motherfucker, and every single one of those motherfuckers is going to remember your name. Oh yes, motherfucker. Try to subtly insert the word motherfucker into the way you look tonight. How to be the mother of the groom. Start fires. How to be a bridesmaid. Paint stripes on your cheeks. Mutter your retreat. Select only poisonous flowers. Adonis. Bloodroot. Ensure that their leaves spread sufficiently to hide your knuckles. Wear blue, because it will remind her of the bluebells thick as dust on the ground and the blue of veins under your stretching tongue, of the softness of 2 pairs of creeping tiptoes through the woods, of girlhood and its elasticity, of the tightening hood of marriage. How to be a bride. Let the grass grow up between the floorboards. Empty your father's shotgun. Shore up your breasts like they're a riverbank about to collapse. Wander all you like, but do not wander. Paint and tuck and pluck, even though the lie has already been told, even though he has seen the dawn along your brow. Do not be afraid to stutter. How to be a groom. Never show your palms, change the locks, make an island of your bed, snap the necks of the doves, and stuff wads of cotton down every open throat just to be safe, just to be safe. Remember the grit against your fingertips of the sea salt stuck to her scalp. Remember the bend of her toes and the sounds of sleep. Remember the pink of the insides of her cheeks. Memorize. Yeah, thank you. And I am available to write inappropriate wedding